What advice would you give to somebody who wants to manage bands and somebody who's in a band, who wants to make it?
It's extremely difficult because what's happening is that, firstly, the distribution and selling of records was hijacked by Steve Jobs. And it's the biggest robbery in the history of mankind, really. He just took the record business, and that's what it is. And what has happened are two really quite bad things in a way. You've got a generation now that only buys single songs, single tracks. So the whole concept, or the whole concept of an album as such, and the album being a musical journey, has sort of gone. It doesn't have to be a concept album in order to be a journey, but the songs can be in a certain running order and they actually take you on a journey. And it was a lot of the artists deliberated for a long, long time about how they had their running order and whatever. That's gone. But for my young kids, also the whole aspect of artwork, which was vitally important to us in those days, it's gone. When you think about how all the fuss that was made over Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band or the Who's Next sleeve or whatever, it's gone. So the kids today just want the immediacy of music. They want it now. And it's affected album sales tremendously. And what it also has done is taken a huge chunk away from the record companies. iTunes might only be 10% of Apple, but Apple's got 180 billion in the bank. So 10% is 18 billion. We're still talking about a chunk of money. They don't invest one dime back into new artists. Not a dime. They just sit there and take. So traditionally, the record companies, even if you were on a bad deal and they were earning not inordinate profits, but big profits, they would always plough back into new artists. That was their business, to nurture and build new artists. They don't do it anymore. Where they used to sign maybe a dozen or 20 new acts a year, that's not happening. They're incredibly selective, and they want you as a band or a manager to create the initial buzz, to get something moving, to show them that you've got some sort of fan base.
The followers of YouTube, whatever it is, yeah.
Well, it's awfully difficult because what you do is, it's okay, you can't show them something on YouTube and say, well, look, it's had 2 million hits. It might be your brother-in-law 1 million times. Who the fuck knows? You don't know also, if you release something, how much it's really sold, because it could be being file swapping, stolen, downloaded, whatever. So the whole thing's a bit of a mixture, and but nothing. There's no investment going back into new music and young artists. So it's really awfully difficult. It really is. They're still coming through by force of energy and determination. But there's nowhere near as much variety and selection as we used to have when we were younger, It's just not there. Radio in America is sort of non-existent compared to what we had 60s, 70s and 80s. It's just not there. And the people also that pick the playlists for this country, very few of them are into serious music. They're into like pop and boy bands and whatever, and if our music business is going to be based on X Factor, Britain's Got Talent and an American Idol, then we're fucked. We are seriously fucked because you've got people up there who don't write their own stuff. They're pretty good performers, I'll admit, but the artists that last are the ones that can create their own music, play it really well live, and take their audience with them. And it's no accident at all, that the Rolling Stones have been around for 50 years, the Who have been around for 50 years, Eric Clapton's been around for 50 years, Paul McCartney's been around for 50 years, Bob Dylan, Neil Young. That's not an accident. It's because of the quality of what they do. And so I don't know. Bands are still breaking through. You know, you get lots of new younger bands. Muse, good band, really good band. Chili Peppers. You've got Foo Fighters. They've managed to fight their way through, but they're not getting. There's a lot of really good talent out there that's not going to get any chance.